Hey guys, it's me. So it's me, Chelsea Fagan of The Financial Diet. And today it is going to be a very different and new video. If you're watching this, which I don't know what else you'd be doing if you've played the video, you'll see that we are at the TFC set, although this is not an episode of The Financial Confessions. I am here joined by a special guest, and I've got a laptop in front of me, something that I don't think we've ever seen before on this channel. I'm joined here by Henry of Big Joel.
Hi, what's up? Hey,
Yes.
everybody.
Hello. Some of you guys may have seen last season of TFC, we interviewed him to talk all about just like bad financial, political, spiritual, philosophical advice that has poisoned the internet. I'll link you guys in the description to that video. It was great. But today I wanted to bring him into the TFC office because he on his channel, and can you give like a 2 to 3 sentence pitch of what your channel is for those who might not know?
It's like if you wrote college essays for your school, but they were about garbage.
Yes.
Sort of. It's media. I look at media. I talk about it.
Yeah. So like one video will be like about a speech that Ben Shapiro gave, and another video will be about like Maury, right? You did Dr. Phil.
How dare you? Why?
I mean, listen, they're in the same.
I want to make a video about Maury and Jerry Springer.
You should. The last time I saw him, I was like, here's 5 videos you should make. Get on it. But he recently did a video that I watched actually while getting ready for an event recently, because I love watching YouTube video essays while I get ready for an event. They're usually just the right length, about the worst personal finance channel on YouTube. Do you agree with that assessment?
I wouldn't know. Probably.
Well, listen, I know
I'm not a
lot
connoisseur of the genre, sadly. You are, I know. And also, I doubt it. When I watch, they're all so toxic in also many ways. Like, there's like a guy who's like in the corner who's like, look at how this poor person is. I don't know. They're all gross. I hate all of them.
Other than TFD.
Other than The Financial Diet, which is the only YouTube channel I've ever collaborated with. So
it's an honor. No, but I watched this video that he did about this truly god-awful YouTube channel that really inspired me because I did not know that this channel existed. But not only does this channel, and it's called Alux.
Alux.com.
Alux.com.
Yeah.
Has like 3.5 million subscribers, which is very big for a channel. Its videos have millions and millions of views. And I was actually expecting, when looking at a lot of the videos, to see a very high dislike ratio, but actually people are loving it. They're loving the content. They're vibing with it. They're rocking with it. But the advice in it is just, I mean, I would say dystopian. I don't know how you'd describe it.
The video is called a dystopian self-help channel. So yes, I would agree with
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that. I arrived independently at the same conclusion. No, it's a terrible channel, but outside of just this one kind of weird borderline AI generated YouTube channel, because it doesn't seem to have like a real host behind it, this is really popular advice in our culture. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
So we're just going to react to this. We're just going to react to these videos and just kind of talk about this terrible yet extremely prevalent genre of personal finance advice.
This channel is very like fetishizing of entrepreneurship, and it always makes me a bit hesitant to talk about it in a really negative way because, you know, we're entrepreneurs, the both of us. And I like my job, and I don't want to come off like I'm telling anybody like being a business owner for me, but you get back in your cage, you suck. Like, no, I just think it's not a decision that I have any stake in whatsoever.
No, it's not. But also, I mean, so literally in the video we're about to watch, like one of the first points is like, be a business owner so you can commit fraud on your taxes.
Yeah, like, and the idea that if you aren't a business owner, you're essentially like a garbage, clod, trash man is offensive and bad. I'm just saying, like, the decision of whether or not to start a business isn't for me to make for you or for Chelsea to make for you. Do it if you want to, and it's a good idea, etc. You
should, but also being an entrepreneur does not mean being like a hustle bro.
It does for me, but yeah, go on.
You're like always posing in your watches and talking about your haters.
If you're not on the Sigma male grind set, I don't even know. I don't even talk to you.
Sigma male grind set. What's a Sigma male?
You what? Okay, there's definitely an Alux video about Sigma males.
Oh
yes, I'm going to expose that to you.
Okay, I'm very excited. So the video we're about to watch is called 15 Things Poor People Don't Know About Making Money. A really fascinating topic. A A topic so fascinating that it has 1.15 million views and 38,000 likes to 812 dislikes. So the people are really interested in what poor people don't know about making money.
Also, we should look at the comments after because they are all exactly identical. But let's play. Let's watch the beautiful video.
Hello, Alaxers. We're excited to be back this Sunday with another cold shower.
Back.
This one should serve as both a wake-up call to some of you, as well as the light that shines your path forward. You're going to find answers to questions you didn't know you had, but for that, you need to put your feelings aside and act like a big boy or girl and be
Big boy or girl.
I just think one of the most dystopian aspects of this is that it's just stock photos of Manhattan.
No, it's like, and they're so faceless, and she's like, hello, Aloxers. Like, it's like this really painful, I think, Canadian accent that just like drones in this faux enthusiasm while she describes the hell world that you're living in. I love this channel so. The second you put it on, I was like, yes, it's so good to be back watching these videos.
It's so good.
Be honest with what's actually happening in your life. Welcome to alux.com. The place where future billionaires come to get inspired.
Yeah, so they put that in every single one of their videos. The place where future billionaires come to get inspired. We don't have to talk about it each time, but that is the catchphrase of their YouTube channel. I just want you to know that.
I wonder if Elon Musk went to alux.com before shutting down the Tesla factory in California.
If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Fundamentally,
so
and this
threatening.
shouldn't come as a shock, poor people are bad at making and keeping money. Otherwise, they wouldn't be poor.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be poor. I also love that it's got an exclamation point. Otherwise, they wouldn't be poor. That's it.
Yeah.
They're bad at making and keeping money.
They do this thing where they're like, otherwise they wouldn't be poor, and like inexplicably that's on screen as like a profound quote to take with you through your day.
Benjamin Franklin.
You can pay little to no money in taxes if you start a business.
All right.
This should be common
Right
knowledge
into
to
the
almost
fraud.
anyone,
Is that
but
true?
just to make sure we're going to say it once again.
Is that correct? Can you make little to no money if you start a business?
So you can pay little to no money in tax if you start a business. So that is a complicated answer. But in general, I think the best piece of advice is that to go into owning or running a business with the intention of minimizing your taxes is probably the worst way to make or keep more money. Like, you would be much better off just like attempting to get a better salary at a different business, or go into starting a business in order to make a product that you care about. Like, the idea of like, I should start a business so then I can not pay taxes is a terrible piece of advice.
How do you have that? How do you carry that with you as a goal?
How do I care?
If I was like, I'm going to start a business and it's going to pay as little taxes as possible. That's what we're going to sell predominantly, is us paying no taxes. How would I go about doing that?
So it depends on the kind of business you have, but let's say you have an LLC. So technically an LLC doesn't like exist as an entity. It's just like the collection of the people who own the LLC. And if you end the year with no taxable income, like you reinvest all of your income, or you pay out a bunch of, whatever you might, whether you're paying contractors or whatever. If you end the year at zero, you don't get taxed on it because there's nothing left. So like you can run down the clock, which is why like a lot of businesses will like pay a lot of expenses toward the end of the year. They try to like minimize what they're being taxed on at the end of the year. But like the entire concept there is you have to spend that money somewhere. Like, and if you're paying it to yourself as income, you get taxed on your income. So like, also this like very much ties into one of my least favorite refrains from people who are like, if you didn't tax business owners so much, like they would pay their employees more or create more jobs. That makes no fucking sense, because the money that you pay out to your employees doesn't get taxed as like income that stays in your company.
Wow.
This is a fundamental difference between businesses and individuals. To illustrate it in the simplest way possible, business makes money, spends money, then gets taxed on what's left. Individual earns money, gets taxed on that money, and spends what's left. The average American.
Okay.
I wish I knew anything about this.
So I'm sorry, but they're basically suggesting that in order to not have to pay taxes, you filter all of the things that you would be spending on through a business. But unless that private jet, which I'm not sure why like an average person watching this YouTube channel, like their next purchase is going to be a private jet.
You don't have a P-jet?
I don't have a PJ.
Sorry.
No, I don't. But if you're buying those things for reasons that are not legitimate business reasons, like that's how people get audited and get like go to jail for tax fraud. Like pretending that things are business expenses in order to be able to write them off is like a huge problem.
Say that somebody, like a friend of mine, has like, I don't know, like 15 dogs they recently bought, purebred, beautiful show dogs.
What?
And they deducted that on their taxes because that's what they were told to do by ALUX. What would then be the second step in that?
I guess the IRS is coming to audit those dogs.
Gorgeous show dogs.
Just those gorgeous dogs.
Number 2, making money is about system solving, not working hard.
I mean,
You
sadly,
make
that's
money
kind
when
of
you're able
true.
to
No, that's
solve and
100%
put together
true.
all the pieces.
But
of
for all the
puzzle.
like right
Well,
for
that's
the
a-
wrong
People know
reasons,
how to make
ALUX.
money is to work for it, exchange
I don't even know if
time and
working.
effort,
Sorry,
and some
I don't even know if working hard is a particularly good reason why people should be paid more. Like
No.
I don't believe in any of it. I don't believe in any aspects of it down the line. Like, I agree with them that I clearly do not get paid for how much I work. That's an objective fact. And they make this point constantly that you don't get paid for how much you work. It's always right. And it is a myth that people have about the way capitalism functions.
Those of you who saw our recent Billionaires video might feel the same.
Did you get backlash on that? Like, actually, I work in the pig shit mines, and I work 80 hours, and I'm a billionaire, Chelsea. Have you thought of that?
No, although actually people, I mean, listen, everyone was getting Marx pilled in those comments. And this one guy was like, it's just like, even if working hard was attached to making money, how could it be physically possible that like Jeff Bezos could work harder than the entire country of Bulgaria?
Right.
Like, how is that even physically possible?
I don't think anybody actually believes that. I think they just say it and then just hope that nobody will care. Right? Like, I don't think anybody actually believes that you work through anybody works harder than anybody else. We're all just, whatever.
No.
Number 3, make money while you sleep or you'll never be rich.
You hear
Listen
that?
and
Please,
listen
you'll
very
never
carefully.
be rich.
As long as you're trading time for money, you'll never be rich. Why? Because there's a limited number of hours in a day that you can trade. Even if you traded all
Isn't
of them...
this true
you'd
also?
still-
Isn't this objectively a fact?
I don't know. It's not objectively a fact because there are plenty of people like, look at our lawyer charges like $800 an hour. Or
Okay,
whatever.
sure,
Like that
right.
man's definitely getting rich while he's
Well,
awake.
this channel doesn't take
Sorry, Greg.
being rich seriously unless you're in the owning class. For them, they actually take like a really strict Marxist definition of class, which fascinates me to no end. Every single second, they're like, they really act as though there is no such thing as the middle class. There are gods and clods.
The funny thing is about this, though, that like there are other videos on this channel that talk nonstop about hustling, but then in this video, they're like, your compensation will never be tied to how hard you work. You will never make your wealth during
Right.
your waking hours. Like, which is it, alux.com?
No, like the best case for them is that people are just rewarded not based on how hard they work, but on how genius in their little brains they are, right?
But it is like, more, now that we're like talking about it, I mean, there is a sort of admirable honesty about it. And I will say, like, for our audience who's like interested in actual useful personal finance observations, like, the idea that you could never become wealthy through your labor is not true at all. There are plenty. I mean, look at what doctors make. Like, clearly doctors are very high earners and they're being paid for their labor. But I mean, this is a channel for, what do they call it? Like
Future billionaires.
Future
you can't be
billionaires.
a billionaire without being in
No.
the owning class. Yeah.
However, I'm sure their version of earning money while you sleep is more about like, I don't know, just like having passive income from investments and not about like exploiting massive amounts of labor, which is how people actually become billionaires.
I think they would say I earn passive and you earn passive income while you sleep. Right?
Well, we do.
Yeah. It slaps.
Okay.
Wake up, go to work, pay your bills until one day you die. Number 4. It takes the same amount of effort to make $50,000 as it does for $1 million.
No, that's true.
What? Citation fucking needed.
Yeah, that's true.
What? Wait, how is that true?
As somebody who has both made $50,000 and $1 million, and then the next exponential increase would be $1 billion. As somebody who's made that, same.
Are you being sarcastic?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could earn over $20,000 a month by selling cars or real estate.
Oh my God.
The process is quite fun.
No, I'm sorry. But this is why this channel is one of the all-time worst personal finance channels, because so many people are probably having their first introduction to personal finance content through shit like this because it's so popular on the algorithm. But like, what it always does not take into account, I mean, aside from like basic macroeconomics, is just the idea of like how much more exponentially difficult it is to start making a little bit of money or to get out of poverty or to set up even like basic financial foundations than it is to make more passive income once you already have money. Like them being like, you could sell real estate or cars for $20,000 a month. Like, where are you getting these cars? Where do you get the real estate? Like, it is so frustrating, but the few people that actually make it, who actually do those things successfully will just turn around and give that advice. Like, if you're struggling to pay your bills and you're a mom on WIC and you're working 3 jobs, you should just make $1 million a year selling real estate.
Right. And this is the entire sort of mental infrastructure that pyramid schemes and multi-level marketing exploits, right? The sort of myth of like, you could just own the thing, you could buy a bunch of things, sell it all, and then that's, you know, if you spend $5,000 now, then you could solve big problems and get big rich, right?
Number 8. Over 50% of your income should go toward investments.
Okay, thanks, Alux.
You cannot assume-
Noted. 50% investments out the door. All right, next piece of advice.
No, that's so many of their advice. Just don't be poor, dick. What are you doing?
Yeah, like
Stop
so
it.
much of their how to not be poor advice assumes like, all right, stop being poor and now do this piece of advice.
$1 million per year isn't a lot of money. You can almost hear
not.
all the butts clenching around the word as we mentioned it.
I like how whenever they say something that's absolutely the stupidest shit you ever heard in your life, they're like, I bet you're probably saying that's super fucking stupid.
It's like, yeah, Alux, I actually was saying that. Why is this your all-time favorite piece of Alux advice?
Oh, it goes places.
Oh, let's
It doesn't stop. This is one of the few Alux tips that's not just, it doesn't just stop with the headline. It is hog wild from minute 1 to minute done, as you will now see.
Grew up with this idea of a millionaire, that $1 million was enough to set you up for life, because it used to be true back in the 60s. Maybe it still feels true if you live in a poorer part of the world and right now believe you don't need that much. The paradox is that only those who are earning in excess of $1 million per year realize it's just a decent earning. Money is getting devalued every single year. Let us put this into perspective for you with the US as the main example. As of the beginning of 2020, there were $1.75 trillion worth of notes in circulation. That's actual money bills out there in the marketplace. Scared that the economy would tank because of the coronavirus, the Fed decided to print another $2.3 trillion out of thin air and simply give it to the people and businesses to avoid a financial collapse. Value comes from scarcity. The more something is found in the marketplace, the less valuable it is. Congratulations, every dollar you have is worth less than half of what it used to be.
That is...
So they just lie about what inflation is.
They
just
literally
do
just
not know
lie.
what it is.
Oh my God. Okay, so to contextualize, and you did talk about this a little bit in your video, but can you explain why that is such an extraordinary statement for you?
I actually talked about this in a bonus video that wasn't available to everybody. Yeah,
okay.
You're
getting that
yeah,
premium
go to my Patreon.
Anyway, can you talk about this more?
The reason why that's so funny is because it's like, verifiably false. The Fed did not make it so that money is worth less than half of what it was a year ago. And it's sort of what I find fascinating about it is that it presupposes a situation where in capitalism is literal bedlam, right?
Right.
Where the Fed just goes, whoop, money doesn't mean anything. Now your life sucks unless you own Pepsi. Like...
Well, it's also like, you know how you can verify that money is not worth like 30% of what it was worth a year and a half ago? Go buy any product. Is it literally 2.5 times as expensive? No, it's not. I feel like the thing about the $1 million mark is like, okay, if your video is explicitly for billionaires, that's not a lot of money to them comparatively. But any person with Google could look up what you could afford to do every year with $1 million. And it's an extraordinarily luxurious life that 99.9% of people could never have.
It's an other way of making it very, very clear to the audience that there's only 2 classes in a very traditional Marxist sense. There's the owners who own way more than $1 million a year. And then there's the proletariat who at the very top, the most a professional, broadly speaking, can make a year is around $1 million.
Right.
You're going to have trouble making more than that as a professional.
What if this is all like a really long con from like Bernie Sanders for America or something?
No, yeah. I mean, it's definitely like a good intro into like harsh... Like they start every video with like a little bit like, buckle up, snowflakes, because this one's going to be a raucous hoedown. And it's like... And it's like, actually, you're right. You win this round. It's like, well, also, this is like a lie. It's not true. Capitalism works better than this, which is a very puzzling fact to say, right? You usually don't go into capitalist apologia and say, well, they're actually making capitalism out to be way worse than it actually is. The world is not constantly fluctuating such that your dollar is now worth 25 cents 2 years later. It's a weird
the thing is that I have way more respect for this as like a free market liberal discourse to just be like, in, crony capitalism, unless you are worth $30 billion or more, you're getting fucked just like the poor guy is.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, true.
I mean, the only sort of departure they make is to say, and the goal is to be the owner. The world is broken, rotten, fetid, and your job is to own it, is the basic
Listen,
goal.
That's king shit.
It's king shit.
Literally.
It's literally king shit.
$1 million per year in 2020 is roughly the equivalent of $250,000 just over 30 years ago. Not just because of inflation, but also buying power. Real estate is a great barometer of this. Poor people fall victim to the system. They don't understand that keeping money in cash is actually costing them money. The rich
do they not? I guess people don't understand that.
This makes no sense because yes, $1 million is worth the equivalent of $250,000 however many years ago, but a lot of the values of goods and services were pegged to that amount. But also what they're actually saying is that like things have gotten more expensive and wages have stagnated.
Right.
Which like, go off, Alux. That's true.
There is something a bit interesting. We could sort of call it like a generational friction, but there is something interesting in that we used to understand $1 billion as the sort of the height of luxury. And now they kind of...
$1 million, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
$1 million is the height of what it means to be a rich person in a lot of ways. And now they are somewhat accurately pointing out that while we still have that sort of myth in our minds, $1 million is worth a lot less, and it's even less accessible than it used to be. Well,
exactly.
it didn't used
but
to be
here's
more
the thing.
accessible.
Like, that is a clarifying statement that I'll make a lot when talking about retirement. Like for a lot of people, if they want to retire with a lot of time left and they want to live a fairly comfortable life with like some basic, to be able to travel, buy things, etc., a retirement for two is costing you north of $1 million now. And a lot of people are like, I'm not a millionaire. Like that's crazy. And so in that sense, I agree. But to say that earning $1 million a year,
$1 million a year is more than being a millionaire too. Right. It's vastly more. Like it's a huge sum of money. It's like what, the top 0.03% of Americans, more than that?
Probably even more than that. But either way, let's hear what they have to finish this up with.
If you made $1 million per year every year of your working life, completely ignoring inflation and didn't spend a penny, you still wouldn't have enough money to purchase this Rothko painting that sold for $46 million, or this one by Newman that sold for $43.8. Imagine working your entire life for $1 million and still unable to buy a piece of canvas with 2 colors on it.
And they're like, you should, if you make a lot of money, you should be able to buy anything. Like,
you should be able to buy the most expensive painting ever sold. It's really their litmus test. Listen, they really went off here.
No, they did it.
It's true. You can make $1 million a year for 40 years and still not be able to buy a Rothko. So what is that money even worth? Really?
It's,
We're looking at one more video today, and that is one that Henry heavily recommended. But this one is called The 15 Risks You Must Take in Life.
Everything good in your life will happen as a result of taking a risk to get it.
Everything
There's
good
no
in your
return
life
without
will
paying
happen.
the price, and the price is taking the risk of failure.
She's kind of serving
As a
here,
baby,
though.
you need to
I like
risk
her.
falling if you're going to learn how to walk. We follow that same trajectory through
There's our
life
boy.
and business. Those who are unwilling to take the risk
There's a good
face
line
an
here somewhere.
unfulfilled and mediocre life. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding on what are the most important risks you need to take if you want to get everything you want in life. As a golden rule in life, if the reward is bigger than the risk, always take the risk.
Okay. So that is such like, I understand they're just trying to say like a trite, boring thing, but that's such quintessentially, famously bad advice.
Elaborate.
Well, the lottery would fall into that axiom. If the reward is bigger than the risk, always take the risk.
Ooh, drive them. That's such a good point.
They're not taking into consideration like, risk assessment, which would therefore make the best version of this quote, if the risk is worth it, take the risk. But see, they're sort of fetishizing this idea of just like doing whatever, follow any dream you could possibly have. Take whatever risk you could because it's the only way to get out of your mediocre working class life. It's really sad, tragic advice.
Also, good pointing out that the lottery, where you could possibly win like $30 million or just lose $1 for the ticket, is a perfect example of this being bad. Because in other videos where it's like things stupid poor people do, one of them is play the lottery.
True.
If you're not subscribed yet, you're
You think you're going to be a
out.
billionaire?
Yes.
Number 1,
Good for you.
risk
Congratulations.
getting incredibly wealthy. If you're under the age of 35, you get
getting
one or
incredibly
What do you
two
mean? What are you talking about? Of course I
extraordinary
will risk
This
it.
happens because you have little to no downside. There's no one depending on you. This is by far the most important piece of advice you can get as a young person. Take big risks.
Oh my God.
You want to hear something that will outrage the closed-minded people? Everyone who actually wants to be rich can become rich.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. There are over 50 million millionaires.
I like how they
New-
hedge that quote around everyone who actually wants to become rich. So, the proof is in the pudding. If you are not currently rich, you apparently did not wish to be. So,
It is just to get a little heavy here for a second, it is genuinely so depressing thinking of people who are struggling financially watching this video.
yeah, and it's really sad to realize that 2/3 of small businesses fail. Generally speaking, people are better off selling their labor for a living. It's a really, really hard line to toe, starting a business and being obsessed with taking huge risks that you think are the only way to get out of your quote mediocre life is so deeply corrosive to the human spirit. It's so horrible.
This is watching this is like a struggling person's Joker origin story.
Yeah, it is.
Number 3, risk ridicule in exchange for making your dreams real. Criticism and ridicule are part of the process.
Okay, so I'm going to say
About ridicule?
I'm going to say something bold to your audience right now. If you bring a business idea to your friend and they go, what? That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Don't start the business.
Don't start the business.
Do not do it. It's a bad idea.
Also, if you would regularly describe the response you get in professional settings as ridicule, you're probably not in the right career field.
It's either or you're not good at your work. If you're ridiculed, don't do the thing you're doing. That's my advice to you.
Don't do it.
The risk fades away when you realize that these people are irrelevant to your journey, even if they're part of your inner
You hear
circle
that?
and their words
You're
might
irrelevant.
hurt. Number 4, risk dropping out or quitting to
No!
start your own business.
Oh
my God.
Here's
Literally,
some
okay.
gold.
Pound for pound, there could not be a worse piece of advice than you should drop out or quit, insert whatever you're doing to start your own business. Just statistically, that is probably the worst piece of
Yeah,
advice.
I mean, probably there's somebody who, Bill Gates did it, but you're not him. And also, just why quit? Why quit? Why not just wait until you're, doing better in life? Wait until you've gotten your education. That way, if you fail miserably, you have something to do with your life.
Well, also, we have done videos about the process of quitting your job to pursue something else. And it's a 2-year process that involves strategically saving money and managing your money. And it's and also setting up 100 B plans in case it doesn't work out. I hate this shit.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Number 10, risk going against the consensus and be right. This is a straightforward path to massive success in life. The more you think about
Straightforward
it,
path to
more wise, it's
massive
true.
success
If
in
you want to
life.
be successful in life, you have
I feel like this is just a coded way to tell people to post politically incorrect things on Facebook,
Hell yeah.
which I'm sure is a huge part of the
Don't
audience.
get the vaccine. This is a straightforward path to massive success in life. Great.
Well, listen, we watched some bad videos. We heard some bad advice. Where can people go to hear about some good advice or at least good commentary?
Watch more financial diet videos.
Don't recommend them to come to the channel. They're
Just
already
go
on.
click on more vids.
Boost your own channel, Henry.
I have videos too. You can find them on the internet. I go by Big Joel.
He's a medium Henry, but he's called Big Joel on YouTube.
If you watch my videos, you'll see that they're, people might have a lot of opinions on them, but you'll see they're pretty good.
He's also always engaging in discourse on Twitter, so go follow him there and see that.
I have so many followers on Twitter now. It's crazy. Follow me.
Okay, brag.
It's true.
He's got that grind set.
It's
Okay.
really... Oh, sorry. Go on.
Anyway,
It's a problem.
as always, guys, thank you for watching. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to come back every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for new and awesome videos.
Woo!
Bye!
Yes!